Good afternoon. You're watching the flagship newscast of the broadcast journalism class, 3-1.
Aspiring, in-depth, and determined, our newscast aims to please.
This is
Journknows!
And with you here today, I am April Senedoza.
And acting as assistant anchor, my name is Rafael Santos. We hope you'll stay with us until the end.
The Caucus of Development NGO Networks, or CODE NGO, urged the government to pass the Freedom of Information Bill. Here is my report. Caucus of Development NGO Networks urged the passage of Freedom of Information or FOI bill, which requires the government to disclose public documents. According to Sandino Soliman, advocacy officer of CODE NGO, all the targets set by the Philippine Development Plan for fighting corruption and improving governance were accomplished, except for the passage of the FOI bill. Soliman also expresses disappointment over the unpassed bill.
Doing the good governance purpose.
The FOI bill was passed by the Senate on March 10, 2014. However, the House of Representatives failed to approve it. According to one of the provisions, an ordinary citizen can ask information on official records, documents, letters, contracts, transcript of official meetings, photos, electronic data, and computer data to government officials. However, the information related to national security, foreign relations, law enforcement operations, trade and economic secrets, privileged information of the court, executive sessions in Congress, and what covers the presidential privilege. Recalling what Aquino promised, he said he will pass the FOI bill during the start of his administration, but it was not granted.
Due to extreme weather conditions, the Philippines was one of the top most affected countries as per the Climate Risk Index for the year 2013. Let us have Laurelyn Hermo for her report.
El Nino phenomenon, sea levels and sea temperatures rising, tropical cyclones and sudden heavy rainfalls, these are the effects caused by the climate change in the Philippines. Based on Climate Risk Index for 2013, Philippines among all the countries in the world was the top country that suffers most from extreme weather conditions where Typhoon Yolanda was a great factor. And as for President Noynoy Aquino's term, where a lot of big typhoons take place, namely Bagyong Yolanda itself, Bagyong Pablo, Bagyong Lando, including the Wrath of the Monsoon or Hagupit ng Habagat, the question is, has President Pinoy's term secured the people and the environment in the Philippines? In the Philippine Development Plan or PDP Review Forum held in Ortigas, Dean Antonio Lavinia, an environmental expert, made a review on the accomplishments that was attained during Pinoy's term. He pointed out that reduction in water pollution, rehabilitation of abandoned mines, improvement in the management of coastal and marine resources was partially being attained due to the policies and programs that took place. However, the Review Forum on Climate Change was not very satisfactory because majority was still not attained by President Aquino. In the statement given by Lavinia, he said that there were measures that strengthened the disaster risk reduction after Typhoon Yolanda, but it failed to bring the same level of improvement in reducing pollution. In this matter, where pollution is one of those who emits greenhouse gas effect, which is the major cause of climate change, Lavinia has this solution to say.
But again, like everything else, the most important thing is you actually mahanap mo yung tamang mga kailangan gawin. Kasi pag mahanap mo yung tamang kailangan gawin, mas madali makakita ng pera para, di ba, mapondohan yung mga tamang gawin.
Other major problems that were not attained are rehabilitating degraded coral reefs and reducing air pollution. Meanwhile, Felicidad Corpus, a representative, believes that we should not blame Pinoy of his negligence but the LGUs or local government.
Ang problema yung mga LGUs, nandun ang pera naman hindi naman hawak ni Pinoy. Nandun naman binababa ang budget. Pinoy cannot go down all the coastals, 900 plus na coastal communities. Hindi naman niya yung kaya, kawawa naman yung ating presidente. But he believes nang i-transfer yung pera, yung plano, sana gawin. Political will ang lahat dahil we should not be wasting our time here.
In the end, NEDA believes that Pinoy has achieved their satisfaction, although some targets were not attained, but according to NEDA, it had to be attributed to the climate disturbances, which is very much complicated. On the other hand, President Noynoy is still to accomplish the 70% green gas reduction that he promised in the Climate Change Summit in Paris, France. This is Darlene Hermo for Journknows.
Ivy Panganiban of Disaster Risk Reduction Management pointed out the pros and cons of the Aquino administration. Here is Daniel Faro for the report.
The government was able to hit some of its targets for disaster risk reduction and management, but failed to do so in other areas. A non-government organization said in a forum assessing the 2010 to 2016 Philippine Development Plan or PDP. Ivy Panganiban said during the PDP review conducted by Code NGO, or non-government organization, on February 9 that the government has yet to improve access to innovative national and international schemes, as there are no effective mechanisms to tap and monitor international humanitarian financing. She also raised that the government has only recently issued the implementing rules and regulation for the People's Survival Fund.
Learning by doing. So, dapat sila involved talaga yung community dun sa paraan ng pagpapalala. So, yun talaga yung pinupush natin na merong involvement yung community dun sa DRRM plan. Dahil yung isa lang na tao na mamatay, di ba, very great loss na yun dun sa pamilya, dun sa komunidad.
Panganiban said, however, that initiatives to strengthen DRRM nationwide have been implemented, such as Project NOAA, producing landslide and storm surge maps for 66 vulnerable local government units, and securing 50 billion for ODA, Project for Climate Tagging. She said DRRM has also been mainstream in national policies and programs, with DRRM and climate change adoption integrated in national poverty and reduction strategies. Daniel Faro reporting.
The Aquino administration was given a low remark in regards with its performance with the Department of Agrarian Reform. Here is Hans Amancio with her report.
The Philippine Development Plan 2016 Review Forum held last February 9 at BSA Twin Towers Ortigas Center, Pambansang Kilusan ng Samahang Magsasaka or Pakisama, National Coordinator Socrates Soc Banzuela said that the performance of Department of Agrarian Reform or DAR was at its weakest under President Benigno Aquino III's term.
Nagre-range lang ng 40 to 50% ang na-achieve every year. And then, mas mababa na nga ang target, mas mababa ang accomplishment. So that's the reason why.
The overall assessment of the Aquino administration on the Certificate of Ancestral Domain Title or CADT issuance was given a failing grade. The Pinoy administration was said to have shown lack of sense of urgency and lack of ambition to meet the target in his term. Civil society organizations or CSOs were reported to be not satisfied as well with the current leadership. Even Department of Agrarian Reform Employees Association voted for his resignation due to minimal mobilization.
Most of them have joined the campaign na sana mapalitan siya late 2012 and early 2013.
However, Banzuela said that the failure to accomplish tasks has been expected from the very beginning due to the overwhelming number of compulsory land acquisitions. The current administration has also been compared with President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's term, where 255 CADTs or 4.2 million hectares were approved.
And of the 25 approved sa panahon ni Pinoy, only one ang na-award. Talong-talo siya panahon ni Arroyo.
The single area distributed within the Aquino administration was said to have been given out of controversy when an Ati tribe leader in Boracay named Dexter Cortez was killed by a hotel guard. The said land, with the help of Aquino's sister Vil Aquino D, an active supporter of indigenous advocacy group, was distributed. 26 years after it was introduced in 1987, the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, or CARP, under the Department of Agrarian Reform, which ended in 2014, consistently failed to meet annual land targets, even unlikely to distribute a total of 818,390 hectares by the end of the administration of President Benigno Aquino III.
Field representatives said improvements were attained but are still lacking on the fisheries and agriculture sector during the Aquino administration. Mylene Sobrevilla has the report.
Last February 9, 2016, a PDP forum was held in the BSA Twin Tower in Ortigas. It was attended by various NGOs representing the improvements of each sector under the administration of President Benigno Aquino. One of the speakers is May Norga from the Partnership for the Development of Human Resources in Rural Areas or PHILDRA, who cited various improvements in fisheries and agriculture during the term of Pinoy. She pointed out some improvements like the increase of rice production from 18.5 billion metric tons in 2010 to 18.9 billion metric tons in 2014, and increase of rice exports from $5,038 million to $6,546 million. She also specified that though there were improvements, there are still problems that need to be addressed. Nogra expressed her satisfaction on the results of President Aquino's term. She stated that many changes happened in the fisheries and agriculture that surprised even her. However, there are some representatives like Soc Banzuela who thinks otherwise.
Out of 928 municipal waters since 1998, 1998, so that's 16 plus 18 years. Only 62 out of 928 have been delineated.
Meanwhile, Nogra noted that while agriculture only accounts for 11% of the country's economy, it had 32% share of the total employment in 2012. Furthermore, she stated that despite the improvements, the growth is still slow.
Kailangan lang din talaga na ma-heighten tsaka ma-strengthen yung other programs and policies. Kasi meron na tayong ganun meron na tayong mga programs and policies. So kailangan lang i-revisit tapos tignan kung saan tayo pwedeng baguhin lang ng konti para ma-improve yung kalagayan ng mga programa nun sa pag-implement.
Up until now, they are still trying to come up with ideas on how their projects will be known by farmers who live from far urban areas. Mylene Sobrevilla, reporting.
And those are all the reports we've gathered for today.
Once again, I am April Senedoza.
And I am Rafael Santos. And this is
Journknows.